This is Commissioner Irma Clark Coleman, and I'm calling the Committee on Public Safety, Judiciary, and Homeland Security to order. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Each member is acknowledging that they are attending this meeting via Zoom and that they are located in Wayne County, Michigan, unless otherwise stated when I call your name. Commissioner Baker McCormick.
Here.
Commissioner Kniezek.
Good morning.
Commissioner Daub.
Here.
Commissioner Baydoun.
Here.
Commissioner Basham.
Here.
Commissioner Scott.
Present.
Chair Clark Coleman.
Here.
You have a quorum present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We will now move on to item number B.
B, approval of the October 21st, 2020 meeting minutes.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Support.
Been properly moved by Commissioner Scott, supported by, was that Ray or Sam?
Ray Baydoun. Sam Basham.
Well, which one of you supported it?
Basham.
Okay.
Baydoun.
Supported by Commissioner Ray Basham. Are there questions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries. Madam Clerk.
C, old business, there is none.
Okay.
Item D1, under new business, communication from the Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management forwarding the updated Wayne County Emergency Operations Plan.
Okay, is Mr. Sturtevant with us today?
This is Brian Herman, Wayne County Homeland Security Department Manager.
Okay, Brian, you want to speak on this?
Yeah, it's just there's no dollars involved. It's not a grant agreement. Yearly, the Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management updates its emergency operations plan. There were no major changes or of any type to the plan. The basic outcome of this was to update our contact information. There's some new people at the health department. Names and numbers were added. A couple new people at Fermi. Names and numbers were added. Again, no dollars, just updating the plan. We keep it on file for a record so anybody can see. And other than that, we're just looking for commission approval. That's it.
Okay.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Support.
It's been properly moved by Commissioner Scott, supported by Commissioner Baydoun. Are there questions on the motion? Hearing none, this is a receipt and file, right? Or
That's correct.
okay. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? The motion carries. Madam Clerk.
Item 2, requesting commission approval of a memorandum of understanding with Fair Michigan.
Okay, is there anyone here from the prosecutor's office?
Good morning, Madam Chair. Tony Guerrero, Chief of Legislation, Grants, and Community Relations.
Good morning,
with the
Tony.
County Prosecutor's Office. How is everyone?
I'm doing great.
Good. This is an annual expenditure that we incur for $80,000 to appoint one attorney and one investigator to the Fair Michigan project. This investigates and prosecutes cases against the LGBTQ community. We have done this for a number of years. It's an $80,000 expenditure. It has been quite successful. The term would go from October 1, our fiscal year, through September the 30th of 2021. The amount is $80,000, and I'm prepared to answer any questions that the committee might have.
Okay. Are there any questions on item number 2?
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to approve this item.
Okay. So it was properly moved by Commissioner Dobb. Who supported it?
Basham.
Supported by Commissioner Basham. Are there any questions on the motion? We're going to take a roll call vote on this one. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenizic,
Yes.
Commissioner Dobb,
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun,
Yes.
Commissioner Basham,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Chair Clark Coleman.
Yes. Okay. All right, so the motion passes.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Item 3, requesting commission ratification of Chair Bill's exigent approval of a grant agreement with the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Okay. This is,
Good morning again, Madam Chair. I'm here, Tony Guerrero,
okay, all
with
right.
the prosecutor's office. This is a very important grant that we received. It's $1,303,000, almost $300 for fiscal year 2021. It's a Victim of Crimes Act grant. It will fund 11 victim advocates and 1 clerical specialist. There is a match amount from the county of $260,633, but we are recouping over $1 million above and beyond that. The county match is through the dedication of certain work hours. This again is a term of a grant that goes from October 1 of 2020 to the end of our fiscal year, September 30th of 2021. This is exigent approval was granted, so we did not lose these funds, but this is over $1 million plus above and beyond what we need to match. And it's extremely important because those 11 victims advocates are there to help these poor victims of crime and sexual assault. We urge that the commission approve this. Thank you.
Okay.
So moved,
Ready to
Madam
answer any
Chair.
questions.
Okay, so the county provides a 20% match to
That is correct.
1.3.
The 1.3, we match 260,000. So
Okay,
yes, 20%.
all right. Okay, so are there any questions on this motion? Oh, well, I got a motion by motion
Scott.
by Commissioner Scott. Did I get it?
Support.
Okay.
Support Baydoun.
Supported by Commissioner Baydoun. Are there any questions on this motion? Hearing none, we're going to do a roll call vote on this one.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenizic,
Yes.
Commissioner Dobb,
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun,
Yes.
Commissioner Basham,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Yes. The motion carries. Madam Clerk?
Thank you.
Item 4, requesting commission approval of a grant agreement with the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Okay, Tony, you're up again.
Madam Chair, Tony Guerrero on behalf of the Prosecutor's Office, Chief of Legislation, Grants and Community Relations. This is a grant in the amount of $471,009. The prosecuting attorney, Kim Worthy, will be matching a portion of this. $353,257 will come from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. 25%, $117,752 will be matched from the prosecutor's office from general fund paybacks. This is extremely important because this is what we call the STOP grant, the Stop Violence Against Women grant. This grant itself will cover 3 assistant prosecuting attorneys, and those funds again will come 25% from our office. This is a very important grant. I have to say, as this committee knows more than anyone else, Prosecutor Kim Worthy is very active chasing after grants so that we don't have to put an impact upon the general fund. So far, I can tell you, into this fiscal year, we have already gathered up to $5.5 million in grants, and we're going after more. So with this one here, we would hope that the committee would approve this.
I will move for approval, Madam Chair.
And I'll support it, Madam Chair. Scott.
It's been properly moved by Commissioner Baidoon and supported by Commissioner Scott. Are there questions on the motion? This will be a roll call vote.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Kniezek,
Yes.
Commissioner Dobb,
Yes.
Commissioner Baidoon,
Yes.
Commissioner Basham,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Holman.
Yes. The motion carries.
Thank you very much.
You're
Item
welcome.
5, requesting commission approval of a professional services contract with the City of Detroit.
Okay,
Madam Chair, Tony Guerrero,
yes,
Chief
Tony.
of Legislation, Grants, and Community Relations. This
Mhm.
is also a very, very important matter. Professional service contracts between Wayne County and the City of Detroit, $102,060. It is to hire a project consultant assistant attorney. And I wish the commission to know, so that the prosecutors asked me to make certain that the commission understands. When we talk about a project consultant attorney, we're talking about somebody who's paid $50,000 with no benefits on a one-year contract only. This particular provision covers us to assist the Crime Gun Intelligence Center Task Force and coordinate our prosecution efforts with the Detroit Police Department. This actually allows us to seek and trace every recovered firearm to establish a link between those firearms and possible suspects. This is an extremely important one for the City of Detroit. It's an extremely important one to keep us all safe.
Okay. Do you have a motion on this one?
So
Madam
moved,
Chair.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
under discussion, hey, do we have
Wait,
stats on?
Let's get a second first, and then we'll go into discussion. Commissioner Scott made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second. Commissioner Dobb.
Commissioner Dobb seconded. Now we will have comments on it.
Thank you, Madam.
Commissioner
Madam
Basham. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do they have stats? Because this is very, very important, but we're told that, we're funding a project and actually it's underfunding it, in my opinion.
Correct.
When you see day after day, the shootings, the violent crime that's happening in particularly the city of Detroit, are we making a difference, and what can we do to improve that? And are we prosecuting people that were caught with a gun that don't have a permit? Are we following through on all those sorts of things to try to make the streets safer? It bothers me when I see that little kids are shot, little kids are killed with neighbors or people in a dispute. Just happened recently in the last couple of weeks in the city of Detroit. These are kids, and it's like, so as a commissioner, I'd like to see some numbers. I'd like for somebody to give me some significant data on, are we making a difference? What can we do to make improvements? As commissioners. So I'm very much interested in this issue.
May I respond?
Sure.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Basham, you are spot on. In terms of the statistics, I will make certain that we provide those to you. But I can assure you, your timing is perfect, because the prosecutor and I and some of our staff just had a discussion about this yesterday morning. We are absolutely adamant about prosecuting gun charges. We don't back off on those for one bit. Gun charges, especially in this particular area, we are 100% committed to eliminating as many of these weapons as possible. I don't have the statistics handy, but I assure you, Commissioner Basham and the entire committee, I will provide you the statistics on what we have been able to recover and what cases are pending. But frankly, this just happened to have come up yesterday specifically because of the gun violence. So I will follow up with you if you will allow me.
And if I may, Madam Chair, and what are we doing with those guns once they're confiscated?
They're turned over to the police department and destroyed.
Okay, and is there a date that they're destroyed, or are they just, we say they're destroyed?
No, quite actually, as we get them, there's the process, as I understand it, Commissioner, is they put them into a locker, and then when they reach a certain level, then they're destroyed.
And I
Well,
guess my question is,
what we
what is that
obtained
level
here-
and when are they destroyed, and can I attend it?
I will give you that information, and I can tell you that we will have those stats for you.
Thank you.
And just for your information, the child that was shot by a person who has a permit to carry. So it's not just folks who are out there with no permits. This lady who accidentally shot her own baby had a permit. There's just too many guns on the street, and by permit or otherwise, that we just got too many guns out there. And maybe we ought to tighten up on who we are issuing all these permits to also. But anyhow, that's just my own commentary.
Madam Chair, I have a question. Commissioner Dobb.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Tony, does this item or this contract also require approval by the City of Detroit Council, the Detroit City Council?
This particular one, yes, and I can tell you that it was a city board. The City Council in Detroit approved this contract on October the 13th of 2020.
Okay, so it already has been approved by Detroit?
Yes.
Yes, it has been.
Okay. One other question, and I'm not really sure how to word it, but in your opinion, so I'm a commissioner who represents the western suburbs out here in Plymouth Canton. Do you think that this contract and this action would affect any gun violence out in the suburbs outside of the city of Detroit? I know that people who own guns don't necessarily just stay in one place within the city. They can move about. So in your opinion, do you think this would also reduce problems with guns within the entire county of Wayne?
May I respond through the chair?
Absolutely.
Commissioner Dobb, you are spot on. Again, every gun we remove in the city of Detroit potentially removes a problem in the suburbs as well. So the answer is, in my own opinion, the more guns we get the hell off the streets, the safer we're all going to be. Now, we don't see this type of a problem. When I say this type of a problem, we do not see the volume of weapons and violence in your areas, out in Canton and so on. However, as I said before, the bad folks are pretty portable. So they don't care whether it's Detroit, whether it's a particular commissioner's district, whether it's the suburbs. The more of these illegal guns we get off the street, the safer we all are. And I think I'm safe in saying that my opinion is the more of these we remove from the hot spots in the city of Detroit, the better off Canton, Plymouth, and the far western Wayne County suburbs are going to be.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Okay, we've got a motion. We've got a second. So all those in favor, but no, this is a This is approval. Okay, so we're gonna do a roll call vote on this one.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Kniezek,
Yes.
Commissioner Dobb,
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun,
Yes.
Commissioner Basham,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Yes. The motion carries. Madam Clerk.
Item 6, requesting commission ratification of Chair Bell's exigent approval of a grant agreement with the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Good morning again. It's Tony Guerrero, Chief of Legislation and Grants Community Relations on behalf of the Prosecutor's Office.
Okay, Tony,
Madam
go
Chair,
ahead.
may I proceed?
Sure, go ahead.
This is a very, very important grant. We thank the chair for her exigent approval. We certainly didn't want to lose $1,260,000 plus. This is between Wayne County and the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. This grant is $1,264,000 for the 2021 Crime Victims' Rights Grant. Again, this is one where Prosecutor Worthy has been very aggressive. This grant alone will fund 13 victim advocates, a social worker, a project manager who is an assistant prosecuting attorney, and 2 department supervisors. This goes from October 1 of 2020 to September 30th of 2021. This particular grant will provide those victim advocates and support staff in order to assist the victims of violent crime. We would urge again, we thank the chair for the exigent approval. I would ask the committee to approve as well.
Do I have a motion?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Do I have a second?
I'll support Dobb.
Been properly moved by Commissioner Scott, supported by Commissioner Dobb. Are there questions on the motion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Kniezek,
Yes.
Commissioner Dobb,
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun,
Yes.
Commissioner Basham,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Yes. The motion carries.
Prosecutor Worthy and I thank the committee for your support.
Thank you, Tony, for your explanation.
Thank you all for all these
I try to be
grants.
here to answer your questions.
And thank the prosecutor for her continual support of seeking out all of these grants. So
I will.
Mhm.
We couldn't fund all these people if it wasn't for the grants, so we thank you again.
and we know that she has aggressively pursued these grants, so we do appreciate it.
Mhm.
Okay, item number 7.
Item 7, requesting commission approval of modification 1 to a grant application and award with the Michigan State Police Office of Highway Safety Planning.
We should have someone here. Samaya, are you here?
Yes, good morning. Through the chair, Sumaya Harp, Director of Administration at the Sheriff's Office.
Mhm.
This is our annual grant that we receive from the state. It's a secondary road grant. Our allotment for 2021 was reduced to $835,000. In this amendment, the state's given us a little bit more money, $285,000, which means when we received $835,000, we had to reduce our staff from 8.4 FTEs to 6. With this additional money, we brought back, we are fully staffed as we were last year, so we were able to bring back 2.4 FTEs to the secondary roads.
Well, that's wonderful. We're glad.
Yes, it is. We're very happy about that.
We're glad to see that money returned, or to return that money back to the budget there. That would have been terrible to have to reduce the road patrol out there in Western Wayne.
Yes, we are
Madam Chair,
extremely happy.
Madam Chair, I will move for approval.
Okay,
Support.
Madam
All right.
Chair, I got a comment at least on this one.
okay. So it was moved by Commissioner Baydoun. Who supported that?
Scott.
Supported by Commissioner Scott. Commissioner Basham for comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Every third person I see driving the cars, it got their hand on a cell phone. And I would hope that Secondary Road Patrol, along with the state police, I've talked to 18 judges, and also local police departments, everyone in my district. I would like to see stepped up enforcement of distracted driving, particularly texting and driving. It's a violation of state law, and we haven't got the message out that we're going to go after those folks that hold a phone in their hand and text and drive. And so I would hope that message would get to the sheriff's department, and anything I can do to support that effort, it's a priority, certainly downriver.
The message will be received at the sheriff's office. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, roll call vote on this.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenizik,
Yes.
Commissioner Dodd,
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun,
Yes.
Commissioner Basham,
Yes.
Commissioner
I can
Scott,
mark it.
Yes.
Commissioner Scott, your audio is on. We can hear your conversation.
Commissioner Clark Coleman,
Yes. The motion carries.
Item 8, requesting Commission ratification of Chair Bell's exigent approval of modification 3 to a contract with Summit Food Service.
Through the chair, Sumaya Harbigan, we
Sure,
are requesting a 90-day extension of the Summit contract. That's the food service contract, in order to have enough time to negotiate a new contract that will address the COVID-19 conditions. Because of the COVID-19, we can't provide the vendor with the inmate labors, so we have to negotiate and come up with a new rate, and hopefully we'll be able to enter into a contract before the January deadline, so we can have food for the adult inmates as well as juvenile inmates.
Okay. Can I have a
So
motion?
moved. So moved.
Who's that?
Basham.
Properly moved by Commissioner Basham. Is there support?
Support, Baydoun.
Baydoun supports it. Are there comments on the motion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenizik,
Yes.
Commissioner Dodd,
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun,
Yes.
Commissioner Basham,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Coleman,
Yes, the motion carries. Madam Clerk, item number 9.
Item 9, requesting Commission approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Ecorse.
Through the chair, Sumaya Harbigan, this is an IGA agreement with the City of Ecorse to allow secondary roads officers as well as MSCU officers to patrol the City of Ecorse. It has two folds. One is that secondary roads now can go into Ecorse, City of Ecorse, and the other one is that we'll start receiving 50% of any tickets that written under the local ordinance. As I don't know if you remember last time we talked, if we write tickets under the state ordinance, we cannot receive any money, but we have to write our tickets under the local ordinance in order to come up to be able to receive 50% of what the ticket is.
Okay, and so
Madam-
this is to supplement the public safety or the police department in Ecorse, correct?
Yes, in the City of Ecorse, yes.
Yeah, because they have a public safety
Yes, it's a
department,
public safety issue.
so we will be supplementing it.
Yes.
Madam
Okay.
Madam
Commissioner-
Chair.
Yeah.
The City of Ecorse is only 2.5 square miles. They don't have the resources to do fully public safety. So this is absolutely needed in the City of Ecorse.
I would agree with that.
Thank
So are you making the motion?
I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
The motion is made by Commissioner Basham. Is there a second?
Scott, second.
Commissioner Scott seconds it. We'll have a roll call vote on this one. Oh, wait, are there any other questions on this motion? Roll call vote.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenizik,
Yes.
Commissioner Daub,
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun,
Yes.
Commissioner Basham,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Yes. The motion carries. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item 10, requesting commission approval of retroactive amendment 1 to a revenue generating contract with 1 2-year option to renew with Martin's Towing.
Through the chair, this is Sumaya again. We are requesting a 1-year extension to our existing contract. This is a revenue generating contract, and I do apologize profusely for this being a retro, but things happened. We had submitted this amendment back in March. Then COVID happened. Then we had changeover in directors' budgets. Then the budget started, so things did not, our stars were not aligned, so we could not get this amendment to you in a timely fashion, and therefore it's retroactive. With me is the fleet manager, Director Ali Berry, so he oversees this contract. So if there's any questions about processes and what gets done, he's here with us in order to answer those questions.
And this is a revenue generating contract, right?
Yes, it is a revenue generating contract.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually have just a couple of comments. I understand, and I will support it, even though it is retroactive, and I tend not to support those. But when we, based on the history that we've had in this county, when they do a auction, Wayne County employees should be at the auction, the day of the auction.
And I think they are. I'm sorry.
Well,
I didn't mean to butt.
that's not always happened, quite frankly. And so it's important that we continue to keep sunshine on the process, that we have county employees at the auction when they do auction these vehicles off. And but I think we've done a lot in the last number of years to put more sunshine on the process, but this would just continue to do that. So that's all I'm saying, is just make sure that that Wayne County employees are fully in the loop. Thank you.
Yeah, Commissioner Basham, I asked that same question, and I
Good.
was informed that there will be, there is an employee that oversees that whole operation and is there to make sure that we get our fair share.
Through the chair, Ali Berry is a project consultant. He oversees this contract, and he is at every auction, and he can speak to if there was any time that was missed, but I know that he is at every auction.
Yes, I'm there every other Wednesday. As a matter of fact, I was there last Wednesday, and every other Wednesday for the vehicle auctions that we do on Martin's Towing. Almost every time we have somebody there. If I'm not there, somebody's replacing me.
Okay. Commissioner Basham.
Madam Chair, I'm going back to when I just started chairing a committee, and Sue Hall was representing the Sheriff's Department. And we had some questions about the auction, and it came from actually a company that had worked on the Jaguar that they said was an undercover car, and we didn't have it insured. And then they said they sold it. And then we found out that the auction was held with no Wayne County employees there. And long story short, it was a whole mess with that. And I don't want to repeat that. It was not looking good for Wayne County. It was not looking good for the Sheriff's Department. It was not looking good for the tow company. So all I'm saying is, without digging back down into that, I just want to make sure that there are Wayne County employees at the auction if they hold the auction, and that sunshine continues to be on the process.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion on this?
So moved. Madam Chair.
So moved by Commissioner Baydoun,
Supported by Basham.
supported by Basham. Okay, roll call vote.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenizik,
Yes.
Commissioner Daub,
Yes.
Commissioner Baidoon,
Yes.
Commissioner Basham,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Yes. The motion carries. Next item.
Item 11, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to a fleet maintenance services contract with 2 one-year options to renew with Metro Tech Automotive.
Through the chair, Sumaya Harb again. We are requesting to add funding to the Metro Tech contract. Although we have been buying new cars in the past few years, 60% of our fleet has over 100,000 miles on them and will require repair and maintenance. We might not use the whole amount that we're asking, but we want to be safe just in case anytime an officer or anybody gets into a car accident. That's a huge part of the repair and maintenance. With me is Lieutenant Gloucester, who oversees the fleet maintenance contract. So if you have any questions, he's the man to answer your questions. Thank
Okay,
you.
Commissioner Basham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, currently, we're only spending about $151,000 for 15 months. There's still about $157,000 left in the original contract, and the Office of Fiscal Agency could understand asking for an additional 200, but 428,000 for me personally, it seems like it's a bit much. Plus, the Sheriff's Office has just received over 70 new vehicles since January of 17.
Samaya?
Yeah, I know we've been receiving those vehicles since 2017, but like I said, 60% of our fleet has over 100,000 miles. We're just projecting. There's a possibility that we'll be using that amount of money. If we don't use it and the contract ends, so be it. We're projecting based on prior history, and we were extremely, because of COVID-19, because of everything that was going on in the contract, this contract was starting late, that we project that we'd be spending more money on repairs and maintenance for the cars.
Is that it, Commissioner?
Yes, yes, thank you. Lieutenant Gloucester, are you still on?
Yes, I'm still here, Lieutenant Gloucester, through the chair. Yeah, I'd rather be safe than sorry. Yes, we have received a lot of new cars, but those cars they put on quite a few miles. Our CTU, thanks to the commission, we were able to get a whole new CTU fleet. They're 2017s, but every single one of them are 110,000 miles plus. Those do travel through the state of Michigan. So the cars we do have, they put on the miles. I'd rather ask for it now than scramble later was my philosophy, sitting and talking this with Director Hard. Not saying we're going to use the whole amount, but rather be safe than sorry, being this is a 3-year contract with 2 one-year options to renew.
Okay.
I just think I'm sorry, Madam Chair. I think with an additional 200,000, I just think 428 is just additional, is just a little bit too much. So I'll probably be voting no on this item. Thank you.
Can I get a motion on this one?
So move, Madam Chair.
How about a support?
Good.
Do I have a support?
Yes.
Commissioner Baker McCormick?
Yes.
All right. So
Support.
moved by Commissioner Scott, supported by Commissioner Baker McCormick. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Kniezek,
Yes.
Commissioner Daub,
Yes.
Commissioner Baidoon,
Yes.
Commissioner Basham,
No.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Yes. The motion carries.
Item 12, requesting commission approval of Amendment 2 to a contract with the 1-year option to renew with Century Living.
Through the chair, this is Sumaya. May I take number 12 and 13 together?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. For the team mental health, due to COVID-19, we have been releasing inmates to team mental health at a higher rate than ever before. Team mental health is a community mental health provider funded by the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network. inmates who are diagnosed with mental health and substance abuse and disabilities are enrolled in Team Mental Health. Central Living is not funded by the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network, so we're using them a little bit less. That's why, in order to bring in more money into Team Mental Health, we'd reduce Century Living's dollar amount or contract amount of $100,000, and we put it in Team Mental Health because Team Mental Health can take anybody who's diagnosed with mental health and substance abuse into their facilities, as opposed to the Century Living.
Okay. Now, so you said Team Mental Health, they can accept anyone.
Yes, as long as they have mental health issues or been
and-
diagnosed with mental health issues or
And
substance
what's
abuse.
the restriction on Century Living?
They're not funded by the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network, and it's not a community mental health provider. That's why. We have to go with a certified vendor as opposed to one that's not certified.
Oh, I see. Okay, do I have a motion? Commissioner Baydun, this is in your district. I would think that you would want to.
So moved.
Properly moved by Commissioner Baydun. Do I have a second?
Support. Baker McCormick.
Support by Commissioner Baker McCormick. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Kniezek,
Yes.
Commissioner Dobb,
Yes.
Commissioner Baydun,
Yes.
Commissioner Basham,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Holman.
Yes. The motion carries. Item number 14.
14,
Madam Clerk, yes.
forwarded from the Wayne County Commission meeting held on November 5th, 2020, an ordinance to amend Chapter 207 of the Wayne County Code of Ordinances, the Public Nuisance Ordinance, to clarify and further decline public nuisances involving racing on public streets and the available enforcement, abatement, and sanctions.
Okay, so we should have with us today the chair of the commission, Alicia Bell, who would like to speak on this item.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning. I just want to discuss this briefly before I turn it over to our council. As everyone knows, speeding, drag racing, traffic has been an issue for quite a few months now. About a month ago, the county executive's office, the sheriff, the prosecutor, and myself have been discussing what we can do to help curtail this. And what I brought to them was the fact that we had an ordinance that we passed back in the year 2000 by Commissioner Varga that spoke to this. But of course, 20 years later, it needed some revisions and additional meat to address the issues that we're currently seeing on our roadways. So we've been working with our council and the prosecutor's office for some additional language to that ordinance. And I'm glad to have this before us today, and hopefully it'll get approved and moved to full board where we'll have a public hearing. And hopefully we can get that adopted to let people know that there are serious consequences for their behavior with their vehicles. So that's my tee up, and I want to now turn it over to Commission Counsel Johnson to discuss the amendments. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Alicia, you want to take on over?
Yes, good morning through the chair. So as Chair Bell indicated, these are amendments to an existing ordinance that we have on the books with regards to drag racing. The prosecutor's office, who actually prosecutes and pursues these matters, reviewed it and recommended several changes to update the ordinance with regards to the enforcement. We do have on the line with us Mr. Charles Davis from the prosecutor's office, who is spearheading this on behalf of the prosecutor, and he is available to speak to any specific questions you have with regards to enforcement and the things that they do with regards to pursuing these matters. Yesterday afternoon, I forwarded to all the committee members a revised ordinance. So we've had some discussions and made some revisions since for board. So the version of the document that you should be looking at should be dated November 10th. If you don't have it, the clerk can put that on the screen for us. I don't know if anyone has any specific questions with regards to this matter. If you want to hear briefly from the prosecutor's office, but we are available to walk through any revision that you would like to discuss. We've made several, again, to update the ordinance to assist the prosecutor with prosecuting these matters.
I guess, okay. Commissioner Basham, let me make a comment first, and then you can respond. How are you going to implement this? I guess this is what my question. If the speeding is going on, and it is, because I hear it at 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm awakened by this noise right outside my window, and it is a nuisance. But it's on the Detroit city streets. How is this going to assist in the reduction of that? Will the Detroit police be still in charge of ticketing on this, or will the county? I guess that's my question. So if somebody can please answer that for me.
So I'm gonna briefly start the response, and then I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Davis, but I'll say that this ordinance is applicable countywide. It can not only be enforced by the prosecutor's office in the county, but it also can be enforced as written by any city or township. But Mr. Davis can give you more specifics on how they actually proceed with matters. So
Okay.
Mr. Davis.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chairman and Commissioners. I appreciate you hearing our suggested changes to the statute, and I want to say that Felicia Johnson has been very, very helpful in proceeding with this, and I want to thank her for her help too. She is correct. The ordinance allows our office to pursue these cases for prosecution and litigation, but as well local cities can and townships can pursue this as well within Wayne County. I know that the Wayne County Sheriff's has a very robust drag racing team. Is that correct, Holly? And but I also know that the city of Detroit pursues these, as well as other cities do too. We've had numerous cases from both the city of Detroit as well as other cities involving drag racing, and Wayne County pursues these very robustly as well as they can. Part of the problem with modern drag racing is that, and this is addressed by the changes, they're no longer performed in just previously well-known or well-established locations, which the ordinance seems to require. Mm-hmm. What modern drag racers do is they use social media to prearrange organized kind of pop-up locations where they can go drag race. So the ordinance becomes very difficult to enforce when our office gets the case, because the ordinance seems to require that the locations where it's occurring had previous drag racing seizures and problems. So the amendments do address that in part and allow our office to pursue these cases in court. That affects our office ability to go to court if we need to, which we do and have on occasion. And our ability to settle these cases becomes less effective because of these legal issues with regard to the ordinance written in 2000. So these amendments would help us get better settlements from these individuals, as well as if we need to go to court, be able to pursue those more effectively in court.
Okay. Now, I thoroughly believe me, support it. I support any method that we can come up with that, because I'm getting complaints from my constituents, and I have a person on West Side Drive who complains to me constantly about the drag racing going on West Side Drive. And as I said, I am awakened at the wee hours of the morning with the sound of drag racing going on in front of my house on Oakland Boulevard. So anything that we can do to alleviate that nuisance, I'm all for. I guess I just wondered, because that's what I tell my constituents when they call, that the county really doesn't have jurisdiction to go out and patrol the city of Detroit streets. So that was just my response, and I just wanted to know if there was something in here that would mean that that the county could start patrolling West Side Drive. I don't know. So maybe someone can answer that question for me.
The county, Madam Chairman, if I may respond through you, the county does pursue drag racing all across the county, regardless of city or township lines. So I know Wayne County Sheriff's Department has presented cases to us for prosecution that occur within the city of Detroit quite frequently.
So this is the road patrol?
They have a particular, I don't know if they've designated a particular task force, but they do have officers who are experienced with drag racing cases and are designated to go out at certain times and dates and pursue those investigations. Part of the problem initially was their inability to prepare for an investigation. Because the modern drag racing occurs in these pop-up locations, it's very difficult for them to prepare ahead of time. They can't go out and stake out well-known locations anymore. But I know that when they can find these drag racers, they are able to pursue them. And the changes to the amendments to the ordinance will allow our office to better prosecute and litigate these cases and legally support their activity, their investigations. I know particularly the city of Detroit has been effective in using social media to identify, and I think Wayne County sheriffs will be able to as well, use social media posts to identify these individuals and locations and pursue them even after the fact. And we did that in a couple cases early on where, for example, City of Detroit got wind of some social media posts. They identified the drivers and the vehicles, and we were able to file our drag racing case in court, not having seized the vehicle yet, and obtained a court order for seizure of the vehicle based on the more than sufficient evidence that identified these individuals and the dangerous drag racing activity that had occurred. One of which was a drag racer doing what they call drifting around gas station pumps in a gas station. Several cars doing that through the pumps and around the pumps with multiple individuals filming and watching and cheering them on.
And they were caught on camera? Is that how you?
And they were caught on camera as well as through the social media. So the city of Detroit's been able to use their green light video surveillance as well. They're also able to use local business video too if they get that opportunity.
Okay.
Commissioner, let me just chime in. The crux of this is not the preventative piece, but more of the enforcement and the prosecutorial piece. You know, that there'll be serious consequences when they do this. That's the most important part of this. Each jurisdiction, each municipality is still responsible for their local police force to catch the people as best they can. But when they are caught, then this ordinance kicks in to make sure that they get the fullest extent punishment to the law. So we want to strengthen what that punishment could be, which is seizure of their vehicles, fines, and even possible jail time if it's comes to that. So that's what this
Yeah. And that's clear.
particular
Now,
ordinance does.
it's clear
I
to
don't
me
want you
now.
to think that there'll be additional sheriffs on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's-
this is strengthens the punishment piece of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now it is, I'm clear on it now. I didn't quite understand it before,
Yeah.
but so your local jurisdiction is still responsible for apprehending.
Absolutely.
This just gives us teeth
Exactly.
in prosecuting them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, we have a double-edged sword when you spoke of Outer Drive. Now that it's nicely paved, you know, first it was too bumpy to drive on. Now that it's beautifully paved, now they want to go 0 to 100, you know, down that nicely paved street. And of course, you know, it's always something.
And that's exactly right.
Yes.
When it was all broken up,
they couldn't do that.
I wasn't getting any complaints about drag racing.
Right.
Now I was getting complaints about the road being bumpy, but not the drag racing. So now that we've rebuilt West Outer Drive, so now I don't get complaints about the road being bumpy, but I do get complaints about the drag racing. And it's the same thing that's happening on Oakland Boulevard.
Yes.
We did the same thing. We rebuilt Oakland, or we resurfaced Oakland. And so now it's a smooth surface, and they're taking advantage. But I do understand it now. It makes perfect sense.
Let me add just one more thing to it. We know the preventative piece is very important to me. So the sheriff and the prosecutor hopefully will be doing PSAs, letting people know that if you are caught speeding, violating traffic rules, drag racing, that there will be serious consequences. It's very important to me that we also work on the preventative side of this to prevent people from doing this behavior on the front end as well, not just prosecuting them on the back end. And I see Mr. Turner is here as well.
Wonderful. And I do see our esteemed Chief Michael Turner here to speak. So Chief, you want to go ahead?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And as our chairwoman indicated, the Sheriff's Office, in conjunction with the CEO, the Board of Chair, the Commission, and the prosecutor, are diligently working to come up with some grants to also assist, because this is becoming an extremely deadly and serious problem, not just with the drag racing, but all of you have witnessed, as you just simply drive down the freeway, that they're speeding in excess of 85, 90, 100 miles an hour. And some of this is impromptu, where you get one speeder and another speeder, and then it becomes a challenge. And now you're not just speeding, but you're drag racing. And we have seen over the last several months some very serious potato accidents, from 8 Mile to the Lodge to 96. And so while we try to get some grants to beef up secondary roads, so that I think that we're also looking at maybe if the state will allow us to start having a presence on these freeways, because these freeways have become quite dangerous over the last several months. And so, as Chairwoman Bell indicated, we just need to put a little more teeth so that when we do catch them, the enforcement is more severe. And taking someone's car, it gets no more serious than that. And we're just trying to do everything we can, because it has become outrageous out there on these roads since COVID-19. So I just appreciate the support that we're getting from this commission to put more teeth into this ordinance. Thank you.
Well, I hope you can get those grants, because it would be certainly helpful.
Yes, I agree.
Commissioner Basham.
I didn't have a comment, Madam Chair.
Oh, okay. Now, are there any more questions? Are there any more comments on this ordinance? All righty. Can I get a,
So
no,
Madam Chair,
yes,
so we'll need a motion to replace, because we need to approve the amendments that were made subsequent to full board. So we'll need a motion that will substitute the item on the agenda and replace it with the document dated November 10th. And that way you'll be approving out of committee all of the proposed amendments.
okay.
I move the motion, this Commissioner Baker McCormick.
Okay. Do I have a,
Support, Scott.
okay. Properly moved by Commissioner Baker McCormick and supported by Commissioner Scott. Do we need a roll call vote on this, Felicia? Yeah, it's a motion. Yeah, it's an approval, right? We're moving to approve it?
Yes, we are.
Okay, let's take the roll call vote on this.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Kniezek,
Yes.
Commissioner Dobb,
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun,
Yes.
Commissioner Basham,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Yes. The motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
1 second while I pull back up the agenda. E, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
Okay. I have none.
Public comments.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to make a comment on these items? Have you opened the board or unmute the participants?
Everyone is now unmuted.
Okay, is there anyone from the audience who would like to make a comment on anything we've discussed here today? Is there anyone from the public who would like to make a comment on anything we've discussed here today? Okay, we'll move from public comment.
Adjournment.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Properly moved by, who moved it? Scott?
Me.
Scott.
Basham moved it. Who supported it?
Well, I thought I moved it, then I'll support it.
Martha Scott supported it. The motion carries. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
I will stay on this line for GovOps for whoever.
Right, we're ready to get started. Is let me his way.
Okay, 1 second.
Colleen?
The vice chair.
He sometimes have a meeting.
Right, it kind of overlaps with his board that he's on.
Yeah, mental health board meeting at the same time.
Right, that's why I said he'll probably join us if he's able to. Okay, want to call the roll, Madam Chair, then? I mean, Lord. Whew. Madam Clerk?
Each member is acknowledging that they are attending this meeting via Zoom and that they are located in Wayne County, Michigan, unless otherwise stated when I call your name. Commissioner Kniezek,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Coleman,
Yes.
Commissioner Basham,
Yes.
Commissioner Colleen, Chair Scott.
Present.
You have a quorum present.
All right. Okay.
B, approval of the October 21st, 2020 meeting minutes.
I
So
have a
moved.
motion.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Basham. Is there support? Is there support for the motion, please?
All right.
It's been moved and supported. Supported by Commissioner Clark Coleman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposes? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item.
C, old business, there is none. Item D1, under new business, communication from Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri on measures taken to ensure that senior citizens as well as other Wayne County residents, do not lose their homes as a result of delinquent property taxes.
Okay. Does anyone want to speak on this?
Yes, good morning. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, who is it?
I'm sorry. Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. This is Roy Frage. I'm the Deputy Treasurer of the Wayne County Treasurer's Office.
Go ahead, Mr. Frazier.
Yeah, so I did notice that Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri is on with us. Chief Deputy Treasurer John Beer Adams and Ramesh Renati, our information management person, is on as well. I just want to say good morning. Good to see everybody again. Would you like me to run through the items? Does anybody, how shall we proceed? Do you have questions for me initially?
Yes, because this will be just a receive and file. Hello?
Yes, we're waiting.
No, well, okay, I'm waiting for someone wanted to speak on it.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Yes. Again, thank you for having me this morning. Yeah, so I'm here to answer, give a response to budget ordinance